All right, this is Mark Levitt and Levin, and he makes some very good points here. We'll begin with this 1973 department included that indictment or criminal prosecution of sitting president, which is acting president, would impermissibly undermine the capacity of the executive branch to perform its constitutionally assigned functions. So, this Mueller investigation of a sitting president is illegitimate. Let's just say that. It's just not effective. The reason it's going on is because of the ferreting out of who's on what side in the Justice Department. That's all this is about. And they're not going to be able to touch Trump while he's in office. Period.
The Mueller investigation, as it sits now, is illegitimate. The appointment by Rosenstein of Mueller did not name a crime that was being investigated. It named nothing. This was a way for the department under Rosenstein to avoid responsibility for conducting an inquiry. That said, it is quite obvious that any imposition on the president at this point does many, many bad things to the country and to the functions of the President of the United States. Article 2 vests in the President all executive power. He is the unitary authority of the executive branch. The President cannot be indicted. And so with no crime having been asserted in the appointment of the special counsel, how can he constitutionally investigate no crime? And it is fairly obvious, since the president is determined to be no target in the investigation, that all he wants to do is question the president. He will waste the president's time, but more importantly, he will waste the country's time. And it is an incredible burden on the president's exercise of his duties. I think he is illegitimate, and I think the president should fight to the very end any subpoena issued by the special counsel. It will be illegitimate ab initio.
Dan Bongino, do you think the purpose really is to lay out an impeachment case if the Democrats take over the House of Representatives? Is that the reason why these 49 very broad areas, questions that were apparently put together by the Trump team but represent what Mueller and his team are focused on? Do you think that's what's going on here?
I do, Mark. I think it's twofold. I think they are laying out grounds for impeachment. I think they would lose that in the Senate, even if the Democrats take back the Senate, even by wide margins. I think in red states, this is an embarrassing case. I think Joe is right. This has been a witch hunt from the start. But I think the second thing that's going on here, and I've been clear on this from the start, and I'd love to get your input on this as well. The people Mueller hired were very selectively chosen for the witch hunt. Now, Andy Weissman, Enron prosecutor, who we know from public emails, has an extreme dislike for Donald Trump. He's Mueller's pit bull, number one. A couple of the other people he hires are fascinating. He hires Jeannie Rhee. Jeannie Rhee, who represented people in the Clinton sphere. He hires, as another one of his bulldogs, Aaron Zebley. Aaron Zebley, who represented who? Justin Cooper, one of the Clinton aides who actually admits in a proceeding to smashing some of the BlackBerries in the email scandal. My point on this is, yes, number one, impeachment, but number two, I think the entire Mueller operation, Mark, is a smokescreen to keep the attention on Donald J. Trump and to keep the attention away from the crimes committed with the Clinton operation and potentially involved in the Obamagate spying scandal as well.
This entire investigation, if it is the official position of the Department of Justice, unchanged to my knowledge, that you cannot indict a sitting president, the idea that you can threaten a sitting president with a subpoena to drag him in front of a grand jury, one of the things they say in the memorandum here is the reason, another key reason why you cannot constitutionally or should not indict a sitting president is you're now leaving it to somebody who is wholly unattached from the body politic and responsible to nobody but himself to determine the outcome of an executive branch official, the President of the United States, whether he stays or whether he leaves. So if you can't imprison a sitting president, why are you investigating him for crimes?
The question answers itself, actually, because what you have is an illegitimate basis for the investigation. You can't indict a president, so why can you question him by force of a subpoena? You cannot. And in fact, the answer here is what Mueller is doing is he's investigating and using a grand jury subpoena not for a criminal case, which the law says he cannot indict a president, but rather he's investigating to impeach. That is an unconstitutional position for him to be in. He cannot issue a grand jury subpoena for purposes of impeachment. That is an illegitimate and unconstitutional use of the grand jury power. And it's...
We're going to leave it there. But this team is dirty and they're fighting dirty, but the people need to wake up in the United States. This is unconstitutional and should not be supported or sustained, and it should be called on the carpet, and the Mueller investigation should be closed down. The only reason it isn't is because Trump is using these guys to set it themselves, and they'll be called on the carpet, things will be exposed, and they will probably end up going to jail over the crimes that they've committed. It's just a matter of time. That's my opinion, but we'll see. But I think Trump is using Mueller against his own self, whether he knows it or not. Good news, Roger Mark from Billings, Montana. Good day.